Hello, Leandro. So, I saw your tweet earlier today, and that sounded interesting. Finally had some time to actually look at it. I'm home now. So, I haven't coded OCaml before. I've done some similar languages, I think. I've heard F sharp is fairly similar, and I've used that before. But I haven't used it much either. I did a couple Advent of Code challenges a while ago. So, I don't know what to expect here. I think OCaml is fairly popular, and I've heard. Oh, it's .org, not .net. Close enough. So I think I'm just gonna try this online for now. Not going to get into this whole, setting up an EDA and stuff. I don't really know what the scene there is. VS Code would probably work though. And they seem to be giving us quite a big example here already. So we have stuff like domains, num domains, and n equals 2. So this is interesting. So what does it tell us? This is powered by OCaml 5 with support for shared memory parallelism through domains and effects. So this seems like fairly complicated already in terms of multi-threading. I'm just gonna run it, and this interesting. So maybe I'm not really understanding. Oh, there is output up here. That is probably the output. Interesting that it dumps you all your variables. That is probably very useful. So, I would assume this code works, and this looks about right. So that's interesting. So what do I have here? I have a variable bindings, 2 of them. I have a Fibonacci function, very classic recursive Fibonacci. Very interesting that this is brought up, because this is not what I would consider to be an efficient implementation, but maybe OCaml makes it efficient. Maybe I'll look into timings of that later on. First, anyway, so this seems to be the parallelized version that does, it's this, otherwise it spawns a new domain and then joins that domain. Interesting. Okay, so this is interesting. So first we assign let a equals this. And I would assume this just blocks. But considering that there isn't like this extra domain.spawn here, that feels like this is lazily evaluated. So I have one part that is... No, I don't... Maybe this part, well, obviously this A expression needs to be lazily evaluated. Otherwise, this entire thing just would block. So this is also lazily evaluated. And I guess, I'm interesting for sure. Maybe there just isn't an order to this. I obviously can't really, I don't really know how this works, so I can't really test different things. I can't test like alternative parallelism. Like maybe I could, I'm assuming I can just achieve the same result by, oh geez, my cursor is invisible. Maybe I have to look into an EDA after all. I'm in Firefox, by the way, in case you care, in case this is kind of what you're interested in. I feel like, going back to your tweet, that this is about like the newcomer experience. Not sure. This might just be a me bug. I don't know. I am a Linux user after all. I'm very much used to this. Oh, that is very nice. So if I just delete this real quick, it does tell me there's an error here. It tells me this is a domain T and it expected an expression of type int. Well, that is very useful. I mean, I would expect as much, but having that in the browser is very nice, and this works just as well. Anyway, I'm going to leave this up here, and this seems to be, so this function is called that, which is unit. I mean, I'm used to that as a unit. I think Haskell does that, which is a great language. and has a similar syntax as well. So maybe that's from there. Wait, is this like a null argument, and this is just an unnamed function? So could I do something like let a equals and then whatever? I'm gonna just steal this print statement real quick. This missing cursor is really messing with me. So let's just delete all of this and just print test real quick here. Oh dude, how do I run two things at once? Let's hope that isn't that weird Haskell shit where what did I do? I pressed back apparently. Let's see if this works. It does not. Ooh. I supplied too many arguments. Maybe this. This expression should have type unit. Oh, okay, so interesting. Okay. So I can call multiple functions, and it seems to me that let bindings are evaluated lazily. So let's confirm that suspicion real quick. I'm getting to your problem. I'm really sorry if I'm stealing your time. This is just very interesting to me right now. So let's put a print statement in here. Let's call it something like let's call it let bindings are lazy, and let's just not use result here, and let's just delete this. And the let binding does get evaluated, which is really interesting. So my intuition a bit about this up here was wrong. It does seem like it evaluates this, so I don't really understand how this works. It might be something with like this rec. Not sure. Do I need rec for recursive? I probably need rec for recursive functions. That makes sense. It makes sense to make those tagged. I mean, now I'm wondering how you can make mutually recursive functions, but those are rare anyway, so I'm not sure how this works. Anyway, coming back to your tweet. Let's search the standard library API for just some random function. This takes a while to load, but maybe I'm wrong. There seems to be like a lot of random functions, but okay, so I have random.int, random.self_init, okay, initializes the domain local. So we already saw domains as this thing. Let's open these two. Domains, basically what I imagine a thread is. Well, it's probably more complicated than a thread. Okay, so I can give it a seed using .init, and I can use .self_init to generate from a system-dependent way. So I need to init this. Now let's look at this int function. Then I need a bound that is an exclusive bound. I'm a bit disappointed that this is just 0 until, but there's probably another function that allows me to pass in two numbers, and this is useful too. Full int returns between 0 and exclusive. What's the difference? It's greater than 2 to the 30s. Returns a value where random.in raises invalid arguments. So this seems to me to be some sort of backwards compatibility thing, which I don't really care about right now. There's more stuff with state, random state. That's great. Actually, that is really sick that you can do this kind of stuff, like saving states and later on restoring it. That's really cool. I know that's a lot more difficult to do in Java, which, by the way, is my main language of reference. I do a lot of Java work. So, yeah, okay. So I need to, actually, let's see the module documentation real quick. With multiple domains, which, again, I'm assuming are these threads, I should really look up, but I don't really want to take too much time. Each domain has its own generator that evolves independently of the generators of other domains. When a domain is created, the generator is initialized by splitting the state of the generator associated with the parent domain. Okay. So if you create a new thread, both threads should generate the same values. Do they? Or maybe they don't. Oh, threads and domains are different. Doesn't really matter. I'm not trying to learn OCaml multi-threading today, even though that sounds interesting to have this split here. Maybe that's across multiple machines. Maybe that makes something easier. Maybe that's a sort of green threadish abstraction on top of threads. Or maybe it's worked pools. Either way, init or self-init, which is more likely what I want. So let's delete my lead binding. I don't think I'm going to need that anymore. And let's call random.self-init, right? Yes. And I'm gonna need semicolons. Am I? Oh, I need to pass in the unit argument again. Very interesting stuff, this unit argument. Maybe there is like a tutorial somewhere here that I'm missing, but tutorials take time. Nobody has time for that. So, I mean, let's just print a random number. So I guess I'll just take this again and do a quick little %d. Oh, that is really cool. I do like that this is like that this function immediately tells me if I'm missing an argument. It's very nice. And this looks to be like an actual compile error on like Java, where this kind of stuff is just a warning generated in your IDE. So can I just do random.int like 10? Is this, I mean, this is probably not valid. It wouldn't be in most other ML languages, so I need probably something like this. So let's just run this. And I'm going to clear the output real quick. So I get a 9, I get a 5. This looks great. I do get something. Let's just confirm. Is this automatically initialized? So I get a 7, a 3. Okay, it looks to me like the init is automatically called, and I don't need to do that. So, ooh, how can I do comments? Do I do comments with like... is there like a single line comment somewhere here? No. I guess I'll just use these. I'm just gonna delete the line. I don't think I care enough. I think I'll be able to remember this. Oh, what is happening here? Can I not delete this line? This is cursed. Oh, this is cursed. Oh, I have brought something evil over this. I think I'm just gonna reload this. Or maybe now is a good time to actually try like getting a local REPL running. So as you can probably tell by my background peeking through, I'm on genuine Windows. I guess I'll just run OCaml. I know OPAM is a package manager, so I might need that, but if I'm just playing around with standard library stuff, I think I'll be fine if I just do this. And I do get this, so let's try our code from before, random int 10. Interesting. So maybe, okay. So I finish expressions with double semicolon. Okay, that makes sense. I can't use my arrow keys. Does this work? Yes, this looks better. Now I can actually go up. Beautiful. So I have a random number, but that's not really what was requested. It was a random string. So I assume I can just create, let's just create a short alphabet for now. Unbound value alphabet, yeah, right. So I might need to do this. So now I have an alphabet variable. Can I index you? It's a string. It's not a function. It cannot be applied. So I think it's time for this OCaml tool from earlier. So we already accounted this double semicolon, so I would have saved myself that if I just read the docs, which I feel like I should know at this point. This is interesting. So if I don't figure out how to do string indexing, I can do, I suppose, a list of strings or like substrings. a list of alphabets. That's fun. That is fun. Ooh, look at this. They use the if then else ternaries instead of the question mark colon ones. That's very cool. Every language has their own spin on that. We have string dot for functions, and it looks like we have optional arguments with tildes, labeled arguments. What do these do? So we have this. Now, are these required? Oh, these are required. Okay, okay. That is interesting. Okay. Now, seems to be string concatenation. So let's try this real quick. Is this really the string concatenation this is really... This looks like it uses this hat operate. I need to get used to that. Okay, so plus is strictly for integer addition. That makes perfect sense. It's a bit sad, but you know, operator overloading does get us to dark places. I can understand why that was done. Ooh, we get a read line. That is fun. Recursive functions. I suppose that's how you do loops. But what I'm really interested in is like, how do I index a list? I don't think I've seen a list index yet. I've seen like concatenation, but I've not seen a list index. Maybe there's like a function that allows me to do that. I think at this point, the tutorial here and me have slightly different understandings what I want from a list. This seems to me like it's a cons list, and it seems to me like they don't expect me to do actual indexing into it. Unless I'm missing something, which I very well might be. Let's just do a quick little OCaml list index. And how do I access the nth? Maybe there's a function for it. Ooh, you cannot have O of 1 indexing on linked list. That makes it very much not appropriate for what I want to do. We do have these, and I'm sure there's some library that allows me to do dynamically growing array structures. So let's try something like this. And this is a string array, so now I can do .0. That is not allowed. .0 like this. Okay, so I need to use parentheses, and I used to use this weird dot access. But now I should be able to do random.int2. And I have a random string. Well, random character for now. Okay. Okay, doesn't allow me to do that, so let's just do this. Now let's OCaml test. Let's make a little test file here. Can I just random string.ocaml? I don't have an LSP set up for this, so maybe I'll just look up there. That will probably do. Oh, this does require me to have OCaml installed. Maybe I'll get into that in a second. Or maybe I'll just do it real quick. Let's see how quick you are. It is taking a hot second. Oh, never mind. It was just finding something. That is quick. Can I install OCaml LSP? It is something. Okay. Okay, maybe I need to restart. I never know. Yes, you can Stop it. Okay, so I do get some snippets here, but I think these are generic snippets. I might need a more specific OCaml plugin for this, so I think I'm just not going to bother for now. Just use this as a text editor. Right, so I remember this. Printf. Nope, that is not what I wanted to do. Printf. Or just printf.printf. That is an interesting one. \n, and then we do random.int 10 again. Can I just run it like this? That is beautiful. That is very easy to use. So we have this. Let's get our alphabet out here. Well, what I did before was I used this array. All right. Forgot that I need to do that. Very sad that I need to do that. Now, what about this? Does this work? It doesn't. It wants an array for me to add that. So I'm going to look if there's like a string.sub. Is this like a substring or does it subtract? Okay, so this takes in a string and a position and a length. Okay, that's fair. Position and length. So I could have my long alphabet and then I call string.sub on it and I pass in like 2, 1 and now I should get a C. Well, now I should get a C. And if I remember correctly, I have this tilde operator for this. Okay, so putting this all together, we have our alphabet, which I'm just let alphabet equals A B C D E F G A I A alphabet. Excuse me. Is there not a copy pastable version of this somewhere here? This looks doable. There's a bunch of spaces, but I'll just do a quick little Okay, this is a bit too few spaces for my taste. It does, but this will be fine. So now let's make a function called random character for now, and that will just do string.sub. We pass in our alphabet. We pass in a random.int in that argument is probably something along the lines of string.length. So is there a length function here? Is there a len function here? No, it is called length. Okay, so I just pass the alphabet in again, and I want just one character. So if I do this, I call random character with that weird null value. I just get ace. Not great. Not great. So, is this another, maybe I do need to initialize this, and this was like a thing in the browser. So let's try this real quick. Random.self init. Should have type unit. Okay, well, that means I need to do this real quick. And now I'm getting random things. Very, that's a thing. Well, that's different behavior in the browser. Very nice that I saw that though. That's useful. So, nice, I have this. I mean, at this point I'm practically done. I just need to build a string. And I've seen recursive functions So I'm assuming I can't do loops in this language. So let's just do random string of some length. And going back to the playground, I'm not in mobile. So we have this if then else case, which isn't really like the match pattern that I'm used from like languages like Haskell, but it is very helpful. So let's do if the length is less than 0, then we just return an empty string. In the other case, we return random character concatenated with random string of length -1. And now I should be able to make any random string of any length. And that looks pretty good. So I could end it off here, but one thing I might still do is read in the length. So we had an example here for read line, I think. Did we not? Could have sworn there was a read line in here somewhere that I saw earlier. Oh well, I guess I'll look up in the library. Read. It's a bunch of read functions. stdlib.readline. Now stdlib sounds like it might be just. I did this again, didn't I? To RL wrap this thing. So I think it might just be read line directly. Okay, I need to invoke it, obviously. Hello. And I get that string back. Okay, then I just need. Well, is there like a read int function? There's read int. Nice. Ooh, exception handling. That is something I haven't looked at all. It didn't even occur to me that this is possible. I mean, it makes sense. Nobody wants to deal with like Rust's complicated type system. Okay, I think I have to wrap this up real quick. So let's just do a quick little, no, not run, I'm not reading. Let's just do the length over here. And that should be about it. If I now run u, I get random strings of any length. And that's it. Well, thank you very much for looking at my video. It did end up taking me a lot longer to get this done than I hoped it would. I hope this was insightful to you nonetheless. I apologize, I've been a bit sick, so I'm not at my very best. Hope this gives you some useful insight, and I'd love to hear from you.